Goedenavond, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And there has been a story that I've been following very, very closely. And it's about this terrible situation that happened in Hankey. The farm rape victim. And the good news is that the perpetrator has been sentenced to a total of 173 years in jail. And his life is going to be very, very rough, believe me. He would never wish this on his worst enemy, what this little piece of shit did. And let me give you the background to what happened here. And this is mainly for the subscribers who are not in South Africa, but it basically gives you a really good insight as to the barbarity of these thugs. And, they are just inhumane. They have no moral compass, nothing at all. They've got absolutely no moral compass. Now, this is the lady who was raped by this black thug. And she's telling us the background and what happened. She says, "My great-grandfather's grandfather and father were all farmers. I married a farmer whose family have farmed their land for 3 generations. It is with deep sadness that I stand before you today and say that neither of my sons will want to farm in South Africa. For 17 years I had the privilege of raising my 3 children on a beautiful citrus farm. They swam in the rivers and played in the orchards. They grew up free and fearless as all children should. Little did we know that our every move has been watched. An attack was being maliciously planned. Our lives changed in an instant at 8 p.m. on the 23rd of March 2018, when shots were fired directly at my eldest son's head from the outside. These shots missed his head by centimeters. What followed was 4 hours of pure hell. I was shot as our attacker fired repeatedly through the doors of our home. I can only describe the feeling like wild animals being hunted. Our attacker shot through the sliding door of our bedroom and gained entry to our home. He held the gun to my 9-year-old son's head and threatened to shoot him. I told my little one to be quiet, as the man would kill us. All I saw was silent tears rolling down his little cheeks for the next 4 hours. He tied us all up with fencing wires, so tight that our hands lost their circulation. He shouted at my children that he was there to kill their father, and that he would chop him up in front of them. The emotional torture and level of anger that my children endured were persistent and indescribable. He repeatedly threatened to shoot my eldest son's feet off, and then ordered him to rape me. All we could do was beg him not to. I mean, what sort of animal, what sort of savage? I mean, animals don't do this to each other. What sort of savage, what sort of barbaric little... words. I'm lost for words. I'm sorry. This is just absolutely appalling. He then told my children aged 15, 13 and 9 that he was going to rape me in front of them. Again, I begged and pleaded with him not to expose them to this. He forced me to my bedroom and raped me there. There was blood everywhere, as I'd already been shot. I could do nothing as my hands were tied behind my back. He then brought my 13-year-old daughter to the bedroom, undressed her and attempted to rape her. Again, all I could do was beg for mercy, so instead he forced my beautiful innocent daughter to watch as he raped me again. I cannot describe the anger this man displayed towards us, and I knew that if my children had any chance of survival, I had to get this man away from them and the farm. You don't care about yourself, you just don't want your children to die. I gave him my bank cards and PIN and persuaded to let me drive him to town. He tied me up in my car and locked me in. I pleaded with him to let me go, as I had started to go into shock from blood loss and needed to get to hospital, or I would die. Finally, at 12:04 p.m., he agreed. My brave, petrified children had managed to phone a neighbour for help. For us as parents, the saddest part of this is that we can never give our children their innocence back. The children and I will never be able to live on the farm again. The trauma we experienced was too great. We now live in the city, away from my husband who visits us on weekends. My husband has barricaded the house with bars and security. How sad it is that he now lives alone in a house where he almost lost his beloved family. The first thing our children said to him after the attack was that they were so grateful he was not there, as he would definitely be dead. The reality earlier this year hit me once again when I met 11 ladies who had been in farm attacks. Only 2 of us still had our husbands alive. We're not the only people who have been hurt and traumatized by our attack. Our loyal farm workers who over the years have become like family are heartbroken. Their lives have also been affected and their future is uncertain, as we have already sold one farm and are contemplating selling the other. Our family needs to be together again. The ripple effect of each and every farm attack not only hurts the farmers, but also each and every South African. Who will feed our nation when there are no more farmers to work our land? The level of violence and cruelty we experience is not unique. It is becoming a daily occurrence and is escalating at an alarming rate in South Africa. My family and I had no choice in what happened to us that night. We do, however, have the choice not to let it define us. We choose to live, and we will be eternally grateful to have survived that night. It could have been so different. And then she goes on to say, I'd like to thank AfriForum for all their support, counselling, and for standing by my family during this ordeal. Lastly, I'd like to appeal to each and every South African to remember the words of Nelson Mandela. We can change the world and make it a better place. It is in your hands to make the difference. And in closing, the perpetrator, Sibenzile Simanzi, has been found guilty on 18 counts for the brutal farm attack last year in Hankey. The ex-farm worker shot the mother who lived on the farm before raping her twice in front of her daughter. Now, when he went to court, despite them having DNA evidence that he had actually committed this atrocity, he denied it, suggested he had never been there, and suggested that the police had planted the DNA. You know, this is the sickos that are running around attacking white families. It is absolutely disgusting. And as I've said so many times, the fake media, CNN, MSNBC, BBC, there's so many of them. They will never cover a story like this. But as I always say, because they're fake news, if this had been a white person doing this to a black family, this would be international news around the world for weeks. That is how fake the mainstream media are. I am absolutely appalled. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates, and have a good evening.